I'm John Halverson. I'm a teacher consultant for the Arizona Geographic Alliance. And today what I want to do is share with you a lesson called Rights, the 14th Amendment. This is a 7th grade lesson and it'll take you about 2 class periods to complete. And for our overview, basically the United States, we're a nation of unequals, and this lesson is going to talk about how we are unequal and how the Constitution tried to make us equal, but it didn't necessarily work that way. The purpose of my lesson today will be to take a look at the 14th Amendment, examine black codes, and look at how their relationship with the rights of African Americans. The materials that you'll need for this lesson are the 14th Amendment. We're going to have some background information. We're going to have a sheet to interpret the amendments. We're going to look at some actual black codes, and then there's going to be a T-chart assignment. The objectives today: you are going to interpret primary sources, analyze black codes in the Constitution. You're going to create a T-chart, and that T-chart needs to support an argument. Alrighty, procedures. Prior to the lesson, I provided you background information for the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendments, which are the Reconstruction Amendments, and it also discusses black codes and Jim Crow law. And this is something important that you're going to need to discuss with your students just so they have a basic understanding. Excuse me. Beginning with the lesson, what we're going to do is you're going to have the students read the 14th Amendment and discuss what those parts mean. The difficulty with that is some of this language is very technical, so you may want to have dictionaries, your textbook available so that you can have the kids have a basic understanding. But we're only going to deal with one part of these, in particular one part of the 14th Amendment. And this is the section we're going to deal with, Section 1. And Section 1 basically covers the idea of not depriving anyone of property, life, liberty, without due process of law, or denying a person equal protection under the law. When we start this lesson, what you're going to do is you're going to have a worksheet, and the worksheet puts before you Section 1 of the 14th Amendment, and what you're going to do is you're going to have the kids write what they think that means in their own terms. And this would be good as a paired activity just because of the technical nature of the amendment. And then what they're going to do is they're going to give you 3 examples of how someone could have their life, liberty, or property abridged. Also, so that the kids understand, the North also abridged the rights of African Americans, and they're going to have to speculate as to what types of laws the North may have enacted to restrict the rights of African Americans after the Civil War. Okay, and that's the worksheet that you're seeing there now on the PowerPoint. After that, the kids are going to end up, this definitely, it would be wise to do this as a paired activity. The student's going to end up with actual black codes, and they're going to need to read these black codes, and they're going to need to be able to put them into their own words, which may be difficult. And here's an example. North Carolina, and what the kids are going to have to do is they're going to have to read this and decide what this means. And in the 2 columns in the worksheet is these are actual Jim Crow laws. And on the right side of the column, there is the interpretation. And the kids are going to decide what those mean, and they're going to put them in their own words. Once they've completed, there's about 12 of these, 10 or 12 of them. Once they've completed this, they're going to then, with a partner, they're going to create a T-chart, and that T-chart activity is going to be how they how the black codes violated the 14th Amendment. And in the left-hand side of the column, they're going to write a law such as barbers, no colored barber should serve as a barber to white women or girls. And this is an actual law from Georgia. And then in the right-hand column, where it says the 14th Amendment, what they're going to have is they'll interpret that somehow like the law made it hard for African Americans to work in areas where white people lived and took away opportunities to earn money, which is a privilege of U.S. citizenship. They will have a writing assignment. And this assignment, what they need to do is explain how, in their writing, the essay, they'll explain how the rights of African Americans were restricted after the passing of the 14th Amendment. And for this, they'll need to support with logical reasoning using relevant, accurate data. And the data that they will be able to support this with will come from the worksheet that we've just done, the T-chart, and the worksheet with Through the Black Codes. And they will need to do this, they'll need to do all the standard things like the topic, a topic sentence, an appropriate conclusion, and the writing will be graded on a 6-trait rubric, primarily concerning itself with ideas and content and organization. Assessment as you're going along. The first day, you may want to do a ticket out the door for checking for understanding. Just have them tell what they think the 14th Amendment is. For the assessment for the worksheets themselves would be 80% or higher, and that's completeness of the worksheet leading up to the writing component. And then the T-chart should use the 6-trait rubric with focus on content ideas, and mastery would be considered 4 or higher on the rubric. Finally, we might have an extension that we could do for this activity, such as you could go out and collect images from the National Archives, use their analysis worksheets, and have students analyze how those violated the rights of African Americans and how they violated the 14th Amendment. Thank you.